Okay, everybody, so welcome to it's our first vision casting event, if you will. So, welcome to Vision 2025, the year of the physician. Okay, the year of the physician. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. This is something that I think you'll find very inspiring and exciting, a great thing to be a part of. And I think it'll bring so much hope because we just live in this very strange time for physicians, but it doesn't have to be that way, right? And so when I talk with doctors or when I look in Facebook groups, you'll see certain trends, right? That, burnout, it's 4 out of 5 physicians. And when you think about that number, that's 80%. And there's a million physicians. So you're talking about maybe 800,000? Like, it is a crazy number. And when you look at the number of doctors who are like, we're quitting medicine, right? I mean, some data you'll see 20%, some you see as high as 78%. But regardless, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of people who devoted over a decade of their lives, right? Got into multiple six-figure debts to be able to serve humanity, saying, forget that, I'm not doing that anymore, right? The loss of autonomy is crazy. For me, I'm like, this is called a doctor patient relationship, but it's a doctor and 17 other people in between patient relationship. Like, we kind of need to we need to fix this because we don't, sometimes we don't have a say. We don't have a say at how long we need to see them. We don't have a say what medications we can give them. We just, it's like, what in the world? And so when you look at that, it's crazy. The lack of financial freedom, and I don't think, well, 99% of people who go into medicine don't go into medicine because of the money, right? There are easier ways to make money than what we do. We go in because we want to help people, right? But at the same time, we need to be taken care of financially so we can help people, right? And so to be in a time when, financial security is not a thing, job security is not a thing, even though we paid it forward by accepting to go into multiple six-figure debt to get this education, is just a little too mind-blowing for me. And there's a lot of disillusion. There's unbelievably, I mean, we're unbelievably devalued in the healthcare space, a space where we're supposed to be the leaders, right? And, it's a lot of complaining and sadness around it and all of that. But I'm like, well, how about we say we're done with that? How about we say there's a million of us and we've decided that we are going to change this, okay? Imagine being in a healthcare space that is a business and we don't have any business training, right? But we have to compete, right? Imagine that the schools that trained us are also training our competition, right? I'm putting out there tens of thousands every year. And so, but the bottom line is, you guys know this. I'm practically preaching to the choir, but I didn't come here, I didn't invite you here for us to talk about the problem. I invited you here so we can talk about the solution. We can talk about how we're going to fix this. And we are experts at doing impossible things. I want you to stop for a second and think about the kind of special people that physicians are. I've talked to a lot of doctors who are like, since I was 5, I knew I wanted to be a doctor. First of all, I'm like, you're amazing. I didn't know that at 5, but okay. But right? And someone says, I'm going to be a heart surgeon at 5. You have to be a special kind of human to be thinking about heart surgery at 5. Do you understand? That is flat out an impossible thing. Like you're saying, at 5, your dream is I'm going to crack open chest, pull out a heart that's pumping, fix it, and put it back. Like this is we do impossible things, okay? That is who we are. So this is the time for us to look back and say, okay, this looks like a Herculean task, but that's what we do. And we are going to fix this. So, as far as I'm concerned, every physician should think about it. We are built for greatness. It does take a special human being to say, well, everybody's going to be playing, and I'm going to spend my teenage years and my young adult years getting an education so I can help people. It takes a special kind of person to say that. It takes a special kind of person to follow through with it. It takes a special person to borrow money to do this, right? It takes a special person. So we're special and we're wired for greatness, okay? Period. And the problem with this is the system we find ourselves in, right? It's not so much us, is where we find ourselves, right? So I heard this story about the Impala, which I always thought was a car, but it's an animal too. And I heard the story of it being able to leap up in the air 10 feet and go as far as 30 feet in forward distance. So think about it, 10 feet. But if you go to a zoo, you'll see it behind a 4 foot wall. And why is that? Because if it doesn't see where it's going to go, it doesn't leap. And for so long, we haven't seen what we can be. We've been told, you're a one-trick pony, right? When they describe bad investment deals, they call them doctor deals. Can you imagine that? They call our salary golden handcuffs. Like, we're going to put these things on these people, and they're just going to roll over and play dead, right? That's what it is. But the times are changing, and we're going to see who we can be, and we're going to become that. The era of us just taking whatever is given to us, saying, oh, I'm not an entrepreneur, I can't do it, this is all I can do, I'm a one trick, but that's all borrowed language. We were told that, and we're not going to do that anymore, okay? Now, you may say, if you want to look at it in a different way, because environment is everything, but we're going to change that, okay? A lion can be the king of the jungle, but if you put it in the ocean, it will drown. Okay? So we have greatness, but we're just in the wrong environment. And I'm not saying we're leaving healthcare. Please don't misunderstand me. It's just that the inspiration we need, the pictures we need, the things we need to do, the environment we need to create within the system, we're going to create it because we're done with this, like completely done. We're not doing this anymore. So the system is not coming to save us. I see people talking about, the AMA should do this, the AP should do that, da da da. I don't know that they are. We've been talking about it for years. They have not. Okay? And so my take on it is this. The cavalry is not coming, right? You guys have probably heard me say this before. The cavalry is not coming, but the cavalry is here. The cavalry is right here. You guys with me here. The cavalry is us. Okay? And we've done this. We've done this long enough. We've complained. We've done all that. Now we're going to fix it. That's exactly what we're going to do. So I want you just for a moment to think about this. It might be a little difficult because I acknowledge that the healthcare space is a tough space to be in right now for doctors, right? But I want you to think about this for a few minutes. Think of a world where, as far as healthcare is concerned, inside and outside the exam room, think of a space where doctors are the leaders, physicians are the leaders. So whether this is policy, whether this is in the exam room, whether this is in the hospitals, whether this is insurance companies, regardless of where it is, anything healthcare, think about a space where we are the leaders. Think about a time when doctors, the same way we have unprecedented levels of burnout, we have unprecedented levels of career satisfaction. Like doctors are like, I love being a physician. I love what I do. I need you to just think about it, right? Think of a time when doctors have financial freedom. Think of it. Not, oh, I have to do this or I can't keep my job. And if I can't keep my job, I can't do my more. Like that's gone, where we have financial freedom. So we're the leaders in the healthcare space. We love what we do. And we have financial freedom. How many of you are like, yeah, sign me up. I want that. Right? Like, what? Let's do that. Let's do that. Well, that is exactly what the mission for EntreMD between now and January 1st, 2025 is. to create that. And you might be thinking it's impossible. Well, so was going to med school, and so was surviving residency, and so was being your attending and running your first code. That was all impossible. But you did it. And if we can come together, even though this seems impossible, we can do it. We 100% can. Okay? Now, the bridge to this, what I think, my answer, is entrepreneurship. Now, I'm going to pedal back a little bit and say this. When I say entrepreneurship, I don't mean that everybody has to go start a private practice. I don't mean everybody has to become a coach. I don't mean any of that. You can be an entrepreneur and still work your job, 100%. But the bottom line is you're the boss. You are the boss of your career. You're the boss of. So if you work a job, that means you know how to negotiate. That means you earn what you're worth. That means you know how to put boundaries in place. So this is what you do and no other. That means people can't devalue you. That means you're running the ship, right? And you're going from one level to another. So if you're like, I want it all the way up to the C-suite, then you're getting there. And you can hold your own space and you find your way to the table. And if there's no space on the table, you make your own table. Okay? So that person who does that, even in a job, is an entrepreneur. The name of the person's business is Dr. Whoever Incorporated, right? They work for themselves. If you want to do a private practice, you know how to make it work. If you decide I want to be a coach, you know how to make it work. If you're like, man, I hate all the brands of this on the market, I want to develop my own product, you know how to make it work. If you are in a place where you're an advocate, you know how to get your message across. You know how to be heard. You know how to make your way all the way to the decision makers, right? So entrepreneurship is just that vehicle that allows us to be the bosses we're supposed to be. Is the vehicle that allows us to create the change that we want to change. Entrepreneurship, you know? And it's a perfect fix for burnout. So whether you want to create massive impact inside or outside the exam room, entrepreneurship is the answer. Okay? If you say, nope, that's not what I want to do, I want to stop physician voices from being silenced. Entrepreneurship is the way. It is the way. If you're like, I want to get my own table, I want to get a seat at the table, entrepreneurship is the way. And we've been told, I've heard physicians say things like, well, business destroyed medicine, so I don't want to be a part of it. No, business didn't destroy medicine. The wrong people being at the helm of the business of medicine destroyed medicine. Who better to be the entrepreneur leading the physician space than the person who will always put people before profits, right? I have talked to doctor after doctor after doctor. Why did you go into medicine? I want to help people. Why did you become an oncologist? I saw someone die of cancer and I was like, no, I'm going to help people. Why did you become a pediatrician? I see what moms are going through and I decided I wanted to help them. This is what we do. Okay? Great businesses are businesses that put people before profits. You need both of them. So let's not, you need both of them. But one has to come before the other. When you put profits before people, then you create the mess that we have. Okay, so it's not a bad thing. It's not a dirty word. It's a beautiful word, right? Entrepreneurship just means, what's a business? A business is an entity that helps people and then generates revenue, right? Helps people and gets a thank you note called revenue. That's really what it is. We have what it takes to be great entrepreneurs. And this is something that we start to embrace, okay? So let me talk about what the plan looks like, okay? What this impossible plan looks like. So it's a 3-year plan, meaning that it started January 1st. It started January 1st. It started already. It started January 1st, and it's going to go all the way up to December 31st, 2024. And the plan is by that time together, we would have created such great impact, that when we hit January 1st, 2025, it would be called the Year of the Physician. We're talking about golden times for the physicians, okay? And you're like, Dr. Una, 3 years? I mean, like, we've had this problem for a long time. I mean, COVID just made it very obvious, but this problem has been going on. So let me share what the plan is, and we'll talk about how we can get this done. Okay, so it's clearly, I'm sure you know, I love Dr. Dewey. She's like, I'm so in. Whatever that plan is, I'm in. I love it. Right? So let me break it down to what that looks like. Okay. So 2021, 2022, the year we're in, we have an assignment. Okay. We have a mission. That's phase one. And phase one of it is the mass business education of physicians. Okay, the business education. So yes, we didn't get any business training and all of that stuff. Doesn't matter. We're going to fix that problem, because the more of us that can take our places as entrepreneurs, the more we create change for the physician community. Okay, now remember, when I say entrepreneur, it doesn't mean you have to leave what you're doing if you don't want to leave what you're doing, but you need an added skill. Okay, we all need an added skill. Okay, now, so the first year, that's what we're doing. Every doctor is going to get a business education. Every physician will have access to it. Okay, so that's the first thing that'll happen, and I'll tell you a little more about this year in a bit. I just want to tell you what phase two and phase three will look like. Phase two, which will be 2023, would be that year where physicians are going to strategically rise to the top in leadership, in advocacy, and in entrepreneurship. So when you look in the healthcare space, when you look like who's at the top of this, the advocates and all of that, it will be physicians. The businesses, physicians. The leaders in the healthcare space, whether that is in insurance companies, hospitals, all of that, it will be physicians. Okay? That's what's going to be happening in 2023. In 2024, you're then going to have collaboration between these three, the advocates, the leaders, and the entrepreneurs. And we're going to topple this mess and completely change the narrative for physicians, because we will be in a space to move and shake and fight for physicians. Okay? So 2022, mass business education. 2023, strategically rise to the top. 2024, collaborations between these three, and we're toppling everything. Everything. Now, we're not talking about damaging stuff. We're going to fix stuff. Okay? We're going to fix stuff, and it's going to be better. So, not better. It's going to be completely different. It's going to be the year. Remember that picture we talked about? Remember the picture that we painted? That doctors are leading in the healthcare space. They're the leaders that they're supposed to be. And doctors are like, I love medicine. Do you know how many doctors are like, I can't let my kids go to medicine? Like, I steer them in a different direction, including me. I didn't steer them, I just didn't encourage it. My 6-year-old is still like, I want to be a doctor like mommy, but everybody else has moved on, and I have not said anything about it, right? But imagine time where they're like, oh my gosh, you should go to medical school. This is like the best career. Can you imagine saying that? Think about it. Think about the financial, think of all of it. We're a world where doctors are financially savvy. Like, you can't say doctor deals anymore. Do you know, like, reps know that when they have stupid things to sell, they look for doctors. Can you imagine that? But not anymore. Okay? So January 1st, 2025, that's what it will look like for physicians. We can make it happen. Okay? Absolutely. So let me talk about the plan for this year, okay? Because this year we're going to focus on this year. When we get to 2023 and 2024, we'll do what we need to do there. But what are we going to do this year? It is so simple, but it will require all of us to kind of own this and say we're going to change it. So then maybe let me test this out. How many of you are like, what? Yes, we can do this. Or you're just like, well, she can do that. That's good for her. But how many of you are like, we can do this? Like, I'm done complaining. I'm done complaining about this thing. We're going to fix this. So we can do it. We can. We can. We're not going to do the learned helplessness anymore. We're not going to do the victim anymore. We're not going to do they won't. We're not doing that. Okay? Yes, we're not starting from the top. This is a grassroots movement, but we're going to get this stuff done. Okay? All right. So 2022, what is 2022 going to look like? When we say mass business education, what does that mean? Are we paying for everybody to get MBAs? Are we sending everybody to, to executive leadership school? What are we doing? So this is going to be simple. You're going to be like, Dr. Una, really? This is going to be simple. We have a number of vehicles. We have 4 vehicles, okay? We have 4 vehicles for this. The very first one is the EntreMD podcast. And if you are here and you listen to the podcast, you can vouch for one thing. There is no fluff in the podcast. Okay? I already see heads nod. There's no fluff. There's no I'm biding time. There's none of that. It is so, like, even the students in the EntreMD Business School, and like, go listen to the podcast episode from Monday. That's the answer to your question. It is high quality stuff. There are people who have told me, Dr. Una, I listened to your podcast, I started my business. I listened to your podcast, I started my blog. My private practice survived the pandemic because of your podcast. I put out my best stuff. Why? Because we are physicians, we are smart, we just need to know what to do. We're the people who are like, don't worry about it. Give me the algorithm. Okay, give me an algorithm. I will memorize the algorithm and we will get this stuff done. We are smart. Okay, we don't have 2 years to sit down to do an MBA. If you do, take it. But at the same time, every physician should have access to education that can help them embrace entrepreneurship and get out of the lies that the system has sold us. Okay? And that it doesn't matter if you are an entrepreneur, which means you work a job, but you're doing entrepreneurial stuff, or you're an entrepreneur, it doesn't matter. Okay? So there's if you look at the podcast, there are all kinds of episodes. If you're like, I don't even know where to start. Right? There's episodes on the different kind of businesses that doctors can start, why you should be starting a business now. If you're like, I want to start a podcast, how to start a podcast, how to make content, how to create a content calendar. It's all there. If you're like, I have to figure out the money thing, we have episodes on this is how you make, like this is why you should set a goal to make $1 million. This is how you can create revenue in your business this week. If you're in private practice, tons of them. And stories of doctors who are doing the same thing. Remember the story of the Impala. We've been shown a picture, like, blocked our vision. So because most people who are physicians had these great dreams. I'm going to change the world. What happened? You got into a system and beat it out of you. And now you're like, I just want to see my 20 patients and go home. What happened? What happened? Right? So business education. Okay? Now, the way I structured it for 2022 is you get one full episode on Monday. You get a 5-minute tweak on Thursday. Who's listened to the 5-minute tweak so far? 5 minutes, like, because people are like, I don't know if I can handle 2. I'm like, listen, I'll give you 5 minutes. I'll give you high quality stuff that you can use. You can apply in your business right away and make a change. Okay? So you have 15 to 25 minutes or so on Monday. You have 5 minutes on Thursday. But if you do that twice a week, you set yourself up to know what is available to you, get the motivation you need, get the inspiration you need, and get the practical steps to get it done. Okay? So it is free. I'm the one who has to go sit and record all this stuff. And obsessively, in a good way, I don't need therapy, good way, think about what do doctors need? What do they need to hear? Where are they getting stuck in business and all of that? And produce it for you. It is free for every physician. So does every physician have access to tools that they can use to start or scale their journey? The answer is yes. but I don't have time to do an MBA. Not a problem. Nobody gave me a business education. Not a problem. You have the podcast. Use it. It's there. Okay. Now the second thing is that the next thing, the most common thing I hear docs say when they're coming into the EntreMD Facebook group, because I ask questions, what is the biggest challenge in your business? It's invariably some version of I need more patients, marketing. My favorite is how do I get more patients without marketing? I'm like, I don't know. But when you find it out, you have to let me know. You're going to get a Nobel Peace Prize for that because I don't think anybody's been able to figure it out yet. And so we're going to do live trainings called a live training series called the Visibility Formula. Okay? So whether you're a private practice, you're a coach, you're an advocate, you're a leader, whatever, getting out of the box so you can be found, right? So you can be seen. You're a speaker, so people can find you and bring you on the stage so you can own the stage. You start a practice so you can make it successful because guess what? We want you to be successful so you can hire other physicians, right? So they can, oh my goodness, like physician-led practices, like how beautiful is that, right? We want you to succeed. You're a coach, we want you to succeed. You're an entrepreneur, we want you to succeed. So the visibility formula. These would be done like on Zoom, like this, training on how to build your visibility. Okay? What is the cost for this? Nothing. It is nothing. Okay? So I don't know how to get myself out there. You can now fix this problem that you have for nothing. Well, some hours of your time, but other than that, nothing. Okay? So we have access to the podcast, we have access to the visibility formula. Okay? The third thing is, how many of you are excited? Because I'm excited. Am I excited by myself? No? Excited? Okay. Okay, great. Great. So those are the first two. The third is March 1st, EntreMD will have a book. It's called the EntreMD Method. Okay? I'm so excited about it. Super excited. And what I put in there is, this is the problem we're having. Entrepreneurship is the answer. This is how to start and scale a business. Like, it's a literal roadmap. Okay? Literal roadmap. Now, this one is not free. I don't even know how much it'll be. $17, whatever. But the ROI, the return on investment on it is going to be like unbelievable. Right? So doctors now have access to the podcast. They have access to the visibility formula, which we'll probably do 3 or 4 times this year. And if you've been for my events, you will know that I don't do fluffy events. Who here was there for EntreMD Live? Right? Was it a sales pitch or was it I don't do fluffy events. You can walk away from it getting more than maybe you even got out of a whole program. That's the way it's designed to be. Dr. Chang is like 2020 and 2021. I was there both times, right? And it's done on purpose because the idea is this is going to change. We're done. We're not doing this anymore. Okay? So, yes, I may offer stuff, but that's up to you to say yes or no to that, but you are going to get what you need. You're going to get it, okay? So EntreMD book, right? Which every doctor can afford that, okay? And what do we want with this? The mass business education of physicians. The era of talking about golden handcuffs will be over. The era of talking about doctor deals will be over. The era of saying, oh, I'm not an entrepreneur will be over. Because if we can figure out how to keep people alive, we can figure out entrepreneurship. Okay? All right. And then the fourth thing, which is not necessarily for every physician, is the EntreMD Business School. Now, I don't know what to tell you. The EntreMD Business School is like the best ever. And the reason why I say that is because to watch someone go from, I don't know if I can start a practice, to killing it, to I don't know if I can be a coach, to killing it, to just to watch that is like the best thing since sliced bread. Like, it really is. Okay? Again, I'm not about fluff, so it's no fluff. I'm not about a whole lot of curriculum because it's not a whole lot of curriculum because we're smart, right? This is what you need to know. This is the way your mind will play tricks on you. Let's go. And we go. And crazy, amazing things happen. Okay? I'm not going to talk too much about that, but that's the fourth vehicle. So we have four of them: the EntreMD podcast, the Visibility Formula live events, the EntreMD book, the EntreMD method book, and then the EntreMD business school. Every physician has access to a business education. If you agree, maybe type that with me. Every physician has access. Every physician has access to a business education. Because all of this stuff, we're done with it. We're not doing it anymore. We're not doing it anymore. We're going to get ourselves educated and we're going to rise above the system. That is exactly what we're going to do. Okay? So I am 100% committed to this. You can tell I've thought a lot about it. I'm 100% committed to this. I'm committed to putting the message out there. I'm committed to doing the podcast. I'm committed to doing the visibility formula. I'm committed to telling every physician in sight about the book. I'm committed to all of that. But no matter how committed I am, I can't pull this off alone. And that's why we're here. No matter how committed I am, there are a million physicians. No matter how committed I am, I can't pull this off. And so what I'm asking, or what I want to bring to you, is let's do this together. Okay? Let's do this together. Because together, there's 81 of us right now on this call. It may not seem like a huge number, but it's enough to trigger a movement. It's enough. We say yes. So you might say, I'm kind of in, but what does that really mean, though, Dr. Una? Like, what do you want? So let me tell you what that looks like. Okay, let me tell you what that looks like. Dr. Gray is like, 81 physicians, a huge number. It is. It is. This is the beginning of the end of the way things have been. Okay, so the first thing, I already have a name. All right, so it's EntreMD Heroes. EntreMD Heroes, because you guys are the ones who are going to change everything. We're going to do it together. Okay? Now, what does an EntreMD hero do? What does an EntreMD hero do? Number one, you listen to the podcast. You listen to the podcast. And why is that? I'll tell you why. Because of number two, you apply what you learn and you become an example of what is possible. You see, for too long, we've just seen, well, we do what we do in the exam room, and they boss us around and tell us what to do, and it's so terrible, and we're all burnt out. That is the most common picture that physicians have. But imagine 81 of us listening to the podcast, learning new things, getting breakthroughs in our businesses, changing the paradigm for ourselves. And then people can look at us and go like, I guess there's another way things can be. I guess there's an alternate reality that I can have. I guess it doesn't have to be this way, right? That can be the experience of other physicians because we choose to apply what we learn. So how many of you here, maybe you'll do that. Maybe let's do that for a second. How many of you, think about it, have seen a physician do something that you didn't think physicians could do, and it inspired you to do something you haven't done before, right? Maybe let me know in the chat. You're like, oh, they have a podcast? What? They hired 5 physicians? Are you kidding me? They asked for a 4-day work week instead of 5? And the people said yes? What? Right? So look at that. So yeah, so started their own practice. Um, Dr. Mello said, yeah, all the EBS members from 2021 and prior, it's like pediatrician making seven figures. Like what? Right? Started a lash company. And it's like, wait a minute. Okay. So I want you to think about 81 of us being that for other people. Like think of the number of physicians you come in contact with, and they're all going like, wait, she did that? Wait, he did that? We could be that for other people. So you're listening to the podcast, number one. Number two, you're applying what you learn so you can change the paradigm for yourself and be an example to others of what is possible. So it's not just for you. You is good, but it's not just for you. It's also for others. So I know I said there are five things, but with these two, how many of you are like, I'll do that? I'll do that. I'll be the example. I'll show doctors what is possible. I'll show them it doesn't have to be this way. I'll show them there's a different way. They don't have to suck it up anymore, right? Right? Yes. Okay. So number one is listen. Number two is apply what you learn and be an example. Number three, the podcast is free. It is free. Share it with every doctor you know. The worst that will happen is they're like, I don't care. I don't want to listen to it. That's okay. But share it with the doctors you know. Share it with them. Tell them, listen, you have to listen to this podcast. You have to listen. If there's an episode you know would be great for them, tell them you have to listen to this episode. And guys, listen to me. If you're like, well, I'm kind of struggling with this in my business, I don't see any episodes on that, you come into the EntreMD Facebook group. Tell me, hey, how about an episode on this? Many people on here will tell you they have had questions, and a few weeks later, their question was a podcast episode, right? This is all for the mass business education of physicians. So share with them. Tell them, listen, go listen. You have to listen to this podcast. You have to listen to it. Okay? Every doctor. It's up to them to say yes or no. Why every? Because that's what we're after. The mass business education of physicians, right? So that's number three. Number four, when it's time for the visibility formula, the first one will be February 15th. When it's time for it, show up for it. Show up for it. See, one of the best things we can do is to become comfortable putting ourselves out there. Become comfortable owning our voices, right? Like when I think, so I'll tell you a little thing. When I was, when I, in my pediatric practice, I always took patients who were non-vaxxers. I always did. And I did it from a sense of almost guilt in a way, because I was like, listen, the people who are on the internet talking about vaccines are the anti-vaxxers. So we're talking years ago. Physicians weren't up there talking because we were told, like if you put yourself out there, you could get sued. And if you put yourself out there, it's not professional. If you put yourself out, so the only voices talking about vaccines were anti-vaxxers, and the physicians were quiet. And the loudest, most certain voice always wins. The end. Right? And so there is nothing as beautiful as physicians being able to own their voices. Whether you're going to do this as an entrepreneur, you're going to do it as an entrepreneur. I see people saying, oh, well, look, all the people, they're going to all these people who have less training than us, but we're the ones who are board certified. The loudest, most certain voice always wins. If you're not out there, the loudest voice out there will win. Will win, right? So when the visibility formula comes up, whether you're like, I want to own my voice, I want to own a podcast, I want to change, the state of healthcare, I want to promote my business, whatever it is. Like I have this private practice, it's amazing, but I don't have clients. I'm a burnout coach, or I'm, a business coach or whatever, and I can help people, but nobody knows about me. I'm the world's best kept secret. The visibility formula is designed to kill that. Where you can be out there, where your voice can be heard, where the people who would love to work with you can find you. Okay? So that's what we're going to do with the visibility formula. So when it shows up, attend it. It's for you. Okay? You're the reason. It's for you. Number 5, When the book comes out, oh, Dr. Gillard's like, I just shared your podcast with 20 doctor friends. Like, we don't even need to wait for this to be over. They tell you that doctors are the most amazing people. I'm telling you. Thank you, Dr. Gillard. I appreciate that. You're the hero of heroes for today, okay? EntreMD Hero of Heroes Award. I love it. When the book comes out, buy the book. Okay, buy the book. I will tell you guys first when we do the promotion and the Kindle is $1.99 or something like. Buy the book and share the book. Okay, buy the book, share the book. Buy the book, share the book. So now let me recap this. What do you do? Oh, thank you, Dr. Daigle. She's putting everything there. What do you do? What is your part where you're like, there are a million physicians and this stuff that's been going on has been going on so long, but we are going to change it. What is your part to play? You listen to the podcast. You apply what you learn so you can be an example, right? You share the podcast with all the doctors you know. You attend the visibility formula. You buy and share the book. Is that too difficult? What do you guys think? I'm thinking this is 100% possible. What do you guys think? 100%, 1000%, 2%, like Dr. Duna, this is too difficult. I need to take a nap. Talk to me. Right? Because it's time. This is our time. Dr. Dewey says a million percent. A million percent for a million physicians. This is doable. But I say enough is enough. We're not complaining about this anymore. How many of you are with me on that? We're not complaining about this anymore. We are deciding to fix it. And we know what to do to fix it. And this is only phase one. But this is what we're going to do for all of 2022. And so by 2023, we are set to have physicians take over top spots in the 3 areas we talked about. January 1st, 2025 is going to be labeled. On that day, there is going to be a label. This is the year of the physician. This is the year. Dr. Abbott says we have to hit medical school and residency programs. I agree. And listen, let me tell you guys. Mikita is here. Mikita, if you can put my email in the comments, the Dr. Una at EntreMD. Listen, if you're like, oh, this residency program, I can get you in there. This whatever, I can get your book in there. I can get the podcast in there. Whichever, let me know. I'm all for it. But we are done with this. We are totally done with this. Okay? All right. So if you're here and you're like, I want to be an EntreMD hero. I want to be a hero. This is simple. We're just going to do a simple texting thing now. Okay? And so you're going to text the word hero, like you are, to 94253. 94253. You're going to text hero. Hero, 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 like you are. 94253. Just text that. And that way, so I don't have to bother everybody. But for those of you who are like, what? Let's do this? We will do this. And I won't terrorize you with text messages, I promise. But we'll keep you updated. Okay? Do we get it? You got it? Hero to 94253. Oh, I love you guys. They're like, done, 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 done. Yes. Yes. The end of this foolishness. Okay. So listen to me, guys. I know you might go like, Dr. Una, this is inspiring. You're inspiring. But the truth of the matter is you're inspiring. Okay? There's no way. Hi, Dr. Amy. She's like, bro, boss surgeons are in. There's no way I can do this. There's no way I can do this. The best I can do is dream it up, come up with content, do my piece. But the movement cannot move without you. It can't. So you guys are the real MVPs. You guys are the heroes. You're the ones who've decided I'm not going to roll over and play dead. You're the ones who are the examples of what is possible. You are the ones who are going to create the change. And I'm telling you, January 1st, 2025, we're going to look back and we're going to celebrate this moment like Can you imagine that 3 years ago, we were like mass business education of physicians? And look at where we are. We are physicians. We do impossible things. We do hard things. We have incredible work ethics. We understand delayed gratification. We're not rolling over and playing dead anymore. We're done. We may have been like the Impala that they put a 4 foot fence in front of, but that fence has come down and we can see, and we are leaping. That's exactly what we're going to do. I want to say thank you guys so much for coming out. Thank you so much for everybody who signed up to be a hero. And together we're going to change this. This is going to go down in history. And we would have been the people who changed the narrative. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, Dr. Una, I have just the person you need to talk to. Please send me an email. Happy to collaborate all kinds of ways. And for everybody who's been doing their part in creating change for physicians, please understand that it's working and there's a movement and it's like a tsunami, like a good tsunami of change. And we're going to make this happen. We are going to make this happen. So love you guys. The text number is 94253. So text HERO to 94253. Yay! Love you guys.